What secrets does the heavenly tomb in the realm of Gu clan conceal? Why does it exert such a strong allure to the people of the 8 ancient clans? As the morning light of the 3rd day bathed the sky, the ancient holy city became exceptionally lively, for today was the day the gates of the realm of Gu clan opened. This mysterious place, almost a separate space, filled most people with curiosity. With the noise from the city spreading, Xiao and his companions were also ready to set out. After leaving their rooms, they joined the crowd heading straight for the city center. At the heart of the ancient holy city, there was a huge lake, which was now surrounded by a crowd. On the surface of the lake, figures in armor stood upright, their powerful aura radiating out, deterring anyone from easily stepping into the lake. In the center of the lake, Elder Gu Sun, whom they had met yesterday, reminded loudly, "Everyone, the realm of Gu clan is about to open. The land within is vast. Wandering around carelessly could lead to getting lost, and venturing into spatial rifts might result in losing one's life in the void. Please do not wander around after entering. Once inside, there will be guides to lead you to the ancient sacred mountains at the heart of the realm. There are descendants of the Gu clan within, and I hope everyone will not disturb them, or else you might be blacklisted by our clan. Is everyone clear?" After Elder Gu Sun's words fell, there were some voices of response from outside the lake. Descendants of the Gu clan? Xiao was slightly taken aback. The descendants of the Gu clan are the foundation and the most crucial link of the clan. After countless years of propagation, the number of descendants within the realm is enormous, and they all have a diluted bloodline of the Do Di flowing in their bodies. Of course, there are occasional exceptions or mutations that enhance the power of the bloodline. Once these descendants are discovered, their value soars, becoming true members of the Gu clan, enjoying an extremely revered status. The Dozun of Fire said, "The constant influx of fresh blood. No wonder the Gu clan can prosper for so long." Xiao nodded in agreement. As the two were conversing, the tranquil lake surface suddenly rippled. Immediately, a dazzling beam of light shot up from the bottom of the lake, and in front of everyone, a black spatial gate appeared. The gate to the realm of the Gu clan had opened. Elder Gu Sun said, "Everyone, please enter." As soon as his words were spoken, figures around immediately started to move. "Let's go too," Xiao said with a smile, and then they walked towards the spatial gate. Around the spatial gate, the warriors of the Black Annihilation Army had set up a tight defense. Xiao quickly caught a glimpse of Lin Quan and the second commander Lin Xiao in front, while the third commander Yang Hao was nowhere to be seen, presumably still recovering from his injuries. After all, Xiao previous strike was not light. The arrival of Xiao and his group made Lin Xiao's eyes slightly congeal. He glanced at the busy Elder Gu Sun, then moved his steps lightly, just blocking Xiao way forward. However, facing Lin Xiao's obstruction, Xiao seemed to be completely unaware, steadfastly moving forward along the original path. Finally, the two lightly collided. At the moment of the collision, a low rumble spread over the water. Since both sides controlled their strength just right, this violent collision did not cause too much of a fuss. Xiao face was expressionless, and his shoulders suddenly trembled rapidly, a wave of power bombarding Lin Xiao's shoulder like lightning, continuously and without end. The hard confrontation again made Lin Xiao's face a bit pale. The power coming from Xiao body was scorching and intense, and in that heat, there was also a bone-piercing cold. The moment the two forces intertwined, it made his shoulder numb. A muffled hum came from Lin Xiao's throat, and he quickly retreated a few steps, obviously not gaining any advantage in this confrontation. "Xiao, don't be too arrogant. There will be someone in the realm to deal with you. I'll wait to see you crawl out like a dead dog," Lin Xiao said through gritted teeth. "Thanks for the concern, second commander, but you should take care of yourself first." Xiao paused slightly, revealing a faint smile, and then without further delay, he stepped into the spatial gate. As Xiao disappeared, Lin Xiao snorted coldly again, and then a trace of blood slowly flowed from the corner of his mouth under the shocked gaze of some Black Annihilation Army soldiers. "Scoundrel!" Under the endless azure sky, space suddenly transmitted a violent fluctuation. Immediately after, a huge, dark spatial gate appeared strangely, and then figures gradually emerged one after another, finally standing firm in this unknown world. Is this the realm of the Gu clan? The energy in the space is so rich, at least several times that of the outside world. Xiao and his group walked out of the spatial gate, feeling the strong energy of this world, showing a surprised look. At this moment, a rumbling sound suddenly came from the distant sky. Immediately after, everyone saw a thick cloud surging like a tide. What is that? Xiao squinted at the dark clouds, and after a moment, his pupils suddenly contracted. It's actually an airship. Not many forces in the central plains can match such a hand. Xiao looked at the rapidly approaching warship and said with emotion. The dark clouds carried the thunder all over the sky, and finally stopped slowly in this sky. The elder said, "Hee hee, all the guests please board the ship." After boarding the warship, Xiao and his group truly felt its hugeness. People standing on the ship seemed particularly small, and the Black Annihilation army soldiers holding spears can be seen everywhere inside the warship. After everyone entered the warship, the old voice sounded again, followed by a shock to the ship's body. Xiao immediately felt a violent fluctuation in the surrounding space, closed his eyes and sensed it for a while, and then showed a surprised look on his face. It can actually shuttle in space. Hee hee, this warship is the space shuttle inherited by the Gu clan from ancient times, and its speed is so fast that even the peak of the Dozun is hard to catch up. Unfortunately, this kind of ship is really rare now. As Xiao was surprised, a laugh came from behind. I saw a man in white robes standing with a smile. The lifelike flame mark on his forehead was slowly burning. This person was the person who met in the tavern building before. Brother Huaxian, you should be a person from the Yin clan, right? Xiao asked. Huaxian smiled and nodded and said, in fact, our two clans also had a lot of origins a long time ago. I don't know if Brother Xiaoyan's trip to the realm is also because the heavenly tomb is about to open. Xiao was stunned when he heard the words, and Huaxian was slightly surprised when he saw Xiaoyan's reaction, and then suddenly realized and explained, this is my negligence. Since the predecessor Xiao died, the Xiao clan has not set foot in the realm again, and I think some things have been lost in the inheritance. Can Brother Huaxian explain what the heavenly tomb is? This matter is not a secret for you, so it's okay to tell you. Huaxian hesitated for a moment and said with a smile, the heavenly tomb has been left over from ancient times, containing many strong tombs, including the tomb of your ancestor Xiao. It contains countless energy marks of ancient strong people, and these marks have been transformed into the form of the strong when they were alive as time passed. And defeating them can obtain these marks and absorb them to enhance their own strength. Huaxian continued, you must know that these energy marks are comparable to top-grade pills and can be continuously swallowed without reducing too much efficacy. The most important thing is that the passage of time in the heavenly tomb is much slower than the outside world, and it is calculated that 5 days in the heavenly tomb is only 1 day outside. Even Xiaoyan's composure was amazing, and he couldn't help but be shocked when he heard this. There is such a strange place in the world, 5 days inside and 1 day outside. So 1 year outside, and only 2 months in the sky curtain. If you practice for 100 years in it, you will become a top strong man in an instant when you come out. The heavenly tomb is unusual in itself, but it also has its limitations. It opens every 20 years, and the maximum stay time is 3 years, which is equivalent to half a year outside. Huaxian said with a smile, only the 8 ancient clans are qualified to enter, and others do not have this fortune. But Brother Xiao, you are also qualified to enter. Xiao asked, the Xiao clan is so declined. Can I also enter? Huaxian said with a shrug, the rules are like this. No matter how the Xiao clan is in decline, it is always one of the 8 tribes. Of course, you also know there will be some difficulties, but with Brother Xiaoyan's ability, it should be able to solve. After hearing this, Xiao nodded and said solemnly, thank you Brother Huaxian for telling me. Huaxian said with a smile, you're welcome. In addition, you should pay special attention to the people of the Soul Clan and the Medicine Clan. I won't say much about the Soul Clan. As for the Medicine Clan, it's because of your teacher Yao Chun. I didn't expect that Senior Yao Chun was actually a member of the Medicine Clan. This time, The elders of the clan mentioned this matter to me a lot. If I guess correctly, the person the medicine clan sent out this time should be Yao Xingji, who is known as the Pillman. If you meet with that person's character, you will definitely make trouble for you. People pill Yao Xingji. It's a strange title, a strange name. Xiao Yin muttered to himself, then shook his head, hoping he really didn't provoke him. Otherwise, he also had to let them see that even the disciples taught by the abandoned people of the medicine clan are stronger than these so-called core clan members. After a brief conversation with Huaxian, Xiao Yin took his leave. It will take about half a day to get from here to the ancient sacred mountains of the realm, and they can only rest on the warship during this time. Let's go. Xiao Yin smiled and led the crowd to walk slowly to the other end of the warship. As they walked forward, they gradually approached the bow of the warship. Xiao Yin originally planned to leave here, but his eyes were suddenly attracted to the bow. There was a long-haired man sitting cross-legged in front of a small wooden table, and there were 2 cups of tea on the table. Xiao clan friend, since you're here, please sit down. Just as Xiao Yin was about to leave, a faint smile came into his ears. Xiao Yin exchanged a look with little fairy doctor and others, and finally did not leave, but turned to the man and sat down opposite him. Then he looked up lightly and said, "A person from the Gu clan? Hee, I am Guzhan." The man introduced himself with a smile, the commander-in-chief of the Black Annihilation Army. Xiao Yin pondered for a moment and said softly, "Are you waiting for me here to regain face for Ling Quan and the others?" Guzhan said, "Those children are impatient and lack determination. Let them see your strength and know that there is a heaven outside of heaven, which is also good for them to be more restrained. As for regaining face, they dare not ask me to come forward." Xiao Yin gazed at Guzhan in front of him, and this kind of calm determination was the only one Xiao Yin had seen among the younger generation in these years. "Do you know why there are so many Black Annihilation Army soldiers guarding the warship?" Guzhan asked casually. "Perhaps it's because they are worried that these people will stay in the realm?" Xiao Yin replied. "These are only part of the reasons. There are many descendants living in the realm. They are the cornerstone and the most important support of the Gu clan, and they all have the blood of the Do Di flowing in their bodies, although it is so dilute that it can almost be ignored, but occasionally there will be mutations that become the new strength of the Gu clan. This evolution is all due to the blood of the Do Di in their bodies." Guzhan explained softly, "But this blood is not rich, and it is very easy to be covered, and the method of covering is also very simple, just by marrying with people from other tribes. The Gu clan cherishes the blood of the Do Di, and we are worried that people from other tribes will cause the dissipation of this blood, which is the reason why we strictly prevent outsiders from staying in the realm." Guzhan paused, then looked at Xiao Yin and said, "The core members of the Gu clan are also like this, and our clan rules clearly prohibit intermarriage with people from other tribes. You should understand what I mean now." Xiao Yan's expression did not change, and he responded softly, "Understand? But it still doesn't work for me. I don't expect a few words to shake your determination, but you should be clear about the Gu clan's emphasis on the blood of the Do Di. For the inheritance of the blood, it is difficult for you and Miss Xun'er to have any results." Guzhan slowly put down the teacup. "Everything should be difficult to retreat, otherwise it is not good for anyone. This is not a threat, but a reminder. If you really like the young lady, you should not delay her. Now the Xiao clan is completely in decline." Xiao Yan's fingers gently turned the storage ring, and after a while, he suddenly smiled and said, "Is the blood of the Do Di really so powerful?" Hearing this, Guzhan was slightly stunned, then smiled and said, "Do you still need to ask? These ancient races are still strong today, which is the best proof. What level can make the Gu clan ignore the blood?" Guzhan replied, "Doshang. Then I will reach this level," Xiao Yin said with a smile. Hearing this, Guzhan's smile gradually faded, and his gaze was tightly fixed on the confident face opposite. Xiao Yin said, "Thank you for the reminder. From the waste of the Xiao family to today, I rely on never giving up. I am not afraid of the Soul clan, and I am also the same for the Gu clan." Hearing this confident laughter, a trace of complexity also appeared on Guzhan's face. Just as he sighed in his heart, the warship suddenly trembled violently, and the surrounding space fluctuations gradually dissipated. "Is it the ancient sacred mountains?" As the warship gradually approached the mountain range surrounded by clouds, Xiao Yan's heart couldn't help but speed up. He suddenly turned around, and his gaze was cast on a distant mountain peak shrouded in clouds, a hazy green figure looming. Despite the distance, Xiao Yan could still feel a bone-penetrating sense of familiarity and deep longing. At a long distance, their eyes seemed to be condensed together. Guzhen said, "Xiao Yan, there is a lot of disagreement about you inside the Gu clan. If you can really reach Dosheng, then everything will be fine. But if you can't do it, you may face great difficulties, so I hope you can do it." Mrs. Vision should not be wrong. Xiao Yan nodded quietly. From these conversations with Guzhen, he felt the huge pressure that Xun'er was under in the Gu clan. No one can stop me from being with Xun'er, not even the Gu clan. The huge warship slowly stopped in the vast mountain range. The elder said, "Dear guests of the Gu clan, please." Hearing the old voice from the warship, everyone responded politely, and then they all flew off the warship one after another. Xiao Yan stood at the bow, but did not leave with the crowd. His gaze was always locked on the distant cloud peak. The Dozun of Fire and others stood behind him. Only the little fairy doctor's beautiful eyes also looked at the distant place, with a touch of complex emotions in her eyes. The beautiful figure on the cloud peak finally moved, like a fairy in the clouds, with a kind of ethereal slow step on the clouds, and finally suspended outside the warship. In full view of the public, the girl in the green dress smiled and flashed to the warship. Her soft voice sounded gently in Xiao Yan's ear, "Brother Xiao Yan, dear, you are getting more and more beautiful." Xiao Yan reached out his hand. In front of the dumbfounded gaze of many Black Annihilation army soldiers, gently rubbed Xun'er's head and chuckled. Guzhen looked at the girl with a beautiful smile, but in his heart, he sighed. Only in front of him, Xun'er, who usually seems like a goddess, would show her true little woman style. So this kid hooked up with the goddess of the Gu clan. No wonder those guys in the Gu clan are so targeted at him. This kid is really too awesome. A young man from the Yin clan couldn't help but admire. After a brief reunion with Xiao Yan, Xun'er smiled lightly, and her figure was agilely flying towards the depths of the mountain range. Xiao Yan took a deep breath and understood that Xun'er personally came to pick him up to show her determination to some people in the Gu clan. As a daughter, she is like this, and Xiao Yan naturally will not be timid. Then I will take a close look and see what is so extraordinary about the Gu clan. Looking at the rich and continuous mountain range, Xiao Yan's heart also surged with a heroic spirit. He waved and led the little fairy doctor and others to fly off the warship, quickly chasing after Xun'er in front. The moment Xiao Yan left the warship, he immediately noticed more than a dozen strong gazes sweeping over him, and these gazes all contained a strong pressure, as if to solidify the surrounding space. Feeling the change in space, Xiao Yan's expression was slightly heavy. Obviously, some people in the Gu clan wanted to give him a strong down horse. The fiery flames suddenly exploded at this moment, and the terrifying fire waves instantly spread out with Xiao Yan as the center. The terrifying temperature made many people on the warship show a shocked look. What a strong, strange fire! The woman in red named Huaji, her eyes were full of surprise, staring at the figure in the center of the fire wave, and the flame mark on her forehead became even hotter. The fire wave surged and spread, and the originally solidified space around also burst. Xiao Yan stood in the sky on the flames, his gaze locked on several places in the mountain range. The owners of these gazes are indeed strong, but just wanting to suppress Xiao Yan with pressure is nothing more than a dream. Do the elders still know etiquette? As soon as they meet, they start with the guests. Do they want outsiders to think that our Gu clan are all barbarians? In the midst of the surging flames, Xun'er's figure appeared instantly beside Xiao Yan, her bright eyes with a chill, coldly sweeping the mountain range. The elder of the Gu clan said, "Miss is too serious. We haven't seen the people of the Xiao clan for many years, and today we just want to try it out." As soon as Xun'er's cold drink fell, a gray-robed old figure slowly appeared in the sky. Xiao Yan's gaze was tightly fixed on this gray-robed old man, and his intuition told him that this person was one of the ones who just made a move. Xun'er said, "Today is the day when our Gu clan welcomes guests, and your behavior is really inappropriate. Step back, don't do it again." After hearing this, Gu Qian respectfully saluted to Xun'er, glanced at Xiao Yin lightly, and then turned around and disappeared into the depths of the mountain range. Xun'er turned to Xiao Yin and asked, "Brother Xiao Yin, are you okay?" Xiao Yin smiled and shook his head in response. "Now you understand why I always delay your arrival at the Gu clan." Xun'er sighed lightly. She didn't expect these conservative elders to be so eager. As soon as Xiao Yin arrived at the Gu clan, they wanted to start and deter him. Xiao Yin smiled, of course. He understood that Xun'er didn't want him to be despised. So he urged him to improve his strength and come to find her again. "Let's go. Before coming to the realm, I expected to encounter these things. These heavy burdens can't be borne by you alone. You have been shielding me from the wind and rain for so many years, and now it's my turn," Xiao Yin said with a smile. Hearing Xiao Yin's gentle words, Xun'er was slightly surprised and then smiled. In the Gu clan, she indeed delayed a lot of time for Xiao Yin many times. Fortunately, Xiao Yin has now grown up. On a steep mountain peak, a figure stood with his hands on his back, his gaze on the sky. Xiao Yin and Xun'er, a strand of black and white hair swaying in the wind. This Xiao Yin has finally come. Behind this figure, a man in a silver robe appeared like a ghost. "Gu Yao, it seems that Xun'er and he have a good relationship. Are you really not considering letting go?" The man in the silver robe asked with a teasing smile. "He is not from the Gu clan, so he can't be with Xun'er. I will remind him personally. What if he insists on staying?" The man in the silver robe continued to ask with a smile. The man with black and white hair slightly raised his eyes and murmured, "Then kill him." After the elder Gu Qian was scolded and retreated, Xun'er's gaze swept over the mountains again, and finally paused slightly on a distant green mountain peak. She felt a trace of extremely faint killing intent. "Gu Yao, if you dare to act recklessly, I will never forgive you." Xun'er clenched her jade hand, and a trace of anger flashed in her beautiful eyes. "Let's go, brother Xiao Yin." She calmed the waves in her heart and turned to Xiao Yin next to her, but found that his gaze was also staring at the direction she had just stopped. "These people are all very strong," Xiao Yin said in a low voice. "If you want to really eliminate the resistance in the Gu clan, ordinary means are probably useless." Xiao Yin slowly retracted his gaze and said to Xun'er with a smile. Under Xun'er's leadership, Xiao Yin and his group did not go to the reception place of the Gu clan, but stopped in front of a quiet bamboo house deep in the mountains. At this moment, an old figure was smiling and welcoming them in front of the bamboo house. Linging sighed with a smile, "Young Master Xiao Yin, in just 10 years, you have reached such a realm, which really makes me feel ashamed. I remember when I was ordered to protect Xiao Yin secretly, he was just a young man who was struggling for the humiliation of divorce. Now that silly boy has become a famous strong man in the Central Plains.